There was a lot of Doom posts about Cyrene, and I find it hilarious that her kit is the only thing about her that's actually good. Both her character design and role in the story, on the other hand, takes a nosedive. Chapter 1. Kit good, remembrance bad. Let's start off with the fact that her kit is actually good. I'm not going to read the massive wall of text out to you, but the skinny is that Cyrene is incredibly strong in the Casteries team, and she's decent alongside the Chrysos heirs as well. I've heard a lot that she's outclassed by Tribbie, and matched by Tribbie E1 if she's E2. But I honestly found that concept baffling. Not only is it wrong, since a handful of reliable people have come out with a calc saying that Cyrene is good, but even if she is roughly around the same power level as Tribbie, isn't that good? You need 2 teams for every game mode, and in Anomaly Arbitration we need 3. You can start freeing up Tribbie from Chrysos heirs teams and into the numerous teams that Tribbie fits in. There's this great infographic that Twitter user @Cyrene'sGF posted that sums up if you should pull for Cyrene. Now, I have a lot of choice words for the Path of Remembrance, enough words for a separate video, but what's important to note here is that Hoyoverse is not looking to release a lot of Remembrance characters frequently, and I believe that Fu Xuan has divined that there would be at most 1 Remembrance character in 4.x. This means that the current Remembrance teams we have now are most likely going to be staying the strongest options whenever the patch favors them. I've heard some back alley rumors though that the upcoming Elation meta will most likely revolve around skill points, so they might suffer for a little bit without vertical investments, but even then, Hyacine can eat SP like it's no one's business, so only time will tell. I think the most valid criticisms are the ones directed at Mydei's special buffs, which are absolutely weird. Mydei's kit is already somewhat saturated with crit damage, and he already is effectively immune to CC. I suppose it would be useful for the times he's caught outside of Vendetta, but why would you ever use it out of his enhanced state? You have to time using her buff on him when he has the enhanced skill up to even benefit off the crit damage and free charge, or else she just action forwards him without the crit damage. Talk about awkward. My first impression of Cyrene was that she would have energy generation problems, but her buffs were some of the strongest in the game. Another argument that I hear often is that Cyrene is going to be a sitting duck at the start of the fight unless you have her E2, which to be fair is correct, but I believe that only makes her zero cycling power a little less than the others. And I assure you, 90% of the people who are looking to clear endgame aren't even considering zero cycling. Cyrene capitalizes off of the fact that the first waves of most game modes are weaker than the second. And when she has her ult up, it's on the second wave, which is where her massive buffs matter the most. Not to mention that Hoyoverse has been slowly moving away from zero cycling as a whole, which can be seen in Anomaly Arbitration, as the cycle no longer resets when you wipe a wave. And cycle 0 is 300 AV, and the rest are 100 AV, which means zero cycling is a tiny bit less valuable. To compare, cycle 0 in MOC is 150 AV, which means if you get a wave reset on cycle 0, you'd earn back 150 AV for a total of 300 AV. But if you get a wave reset on cycle 1, you'd only earn back 100 AV, which makes wiping the first wave on cycle 0 50 AV more valuable. If you have no idea what the hell I just said, then hush little labubu, everything will be matcha latte on Kami-sama. Chapter 2. Cyrene's design is so bad. I typically cover meta-analyses and game design philosophy, so please subscribe if you're on my wavelength. I appreciate it if you did, and if not, enjoy the delicious subjective discourse. I don't like Cyrene's character design. She wears a wedding dress, a veil, and she has arches in her ultimate, and of course, the wedding ring. This to me is extremely standoffish and kind of goes against her character thus far. I viewed her as a chronicler of stories, and I think she really should have incorporated more of her small version's design. The rune wraps that she has, her ceremonial moonblade, and I thought it would be nice to see her grow into her oversized jacket. I feel like those elements really tell a better story on who Cyrene is than just pink wedding eye candy. I understand that she's named Philia or whatever, and that she has love in her heart or something, but from what we've seen so far, I feel like giving her more remembrance, tarot cards, books, and elements from her previous design would be more in line. Now, I obviously will put up a disclaimer that we haven't seen the extent of Cyrene's involvement in the story, but boy does 3.7 have gigantic shoes to fill, as they'll have to explain wedding dress themes because it's just so jarring, man. And honestly, even if they explain it through the lore, I find it hard to believe that Hoyoverse has the ability to properly land an explanation for waifu purposes, because they've already failed twice. Firefly's fireworks show was jarring, as it was displayed on the backdrop of the IPC imposing their will on Penacony, and the convoluted writing decisions to, heavy air quotes, kill the Trailblazer and Dun Hung, just so that the Trailblazer can hug Caceres without any downsides. Even if that death means absolutely nothing, because the TB is still enacting their will on Amphorius, and the fact that their body is outside Amphorius and is still alive and well? Like, huh? This phenomenon is explained in the same way that March's body is still in the Express, despite Evernight being in Amphorius. I don't know, man. Hoyoverse really drops the ball when it comes to writing waifus, and what's worse is that people lap it up anyway. People lap it up anyway, man. Like, what pisses me off the most about this entire thing is the fact that I know that Cyrene is going to sell well despite all of this. Even if giving her the bow makes no damn sense, and even if the wedding motifs might not have anything to do with her character, she is eye candy, and people's base instincts will take over and they'll pull her anyway. Chapter 3, Elysia Comparisons. I've never played HI 3rd, and I've heard the story is just as convoluted there, with technobabble in every chapter to boot. However, all I know is that Elysia is a pink archer girl that has wedding motifs because she's married to humanity. Now, that's cool and all, that's okay, right? But I really don't like the fact that Cyrene, who is supposed to be an entirely different character, relies heavily on the same motifs that Elysia has without much explanation from the developers. It honestly just feels like you're dangling keys to nostalgia bait your HI3 fanbase without any substance to back it up. And Chapter 4, Cyrene Skin and Kalos Self-Insert Wars. Okay, $300 skin to get your Trailblazer into Cyrene's ultimate. An outrageous price, and it is so obvious who the target demographic is. With this, people are throwing around buzzwords like the Trailblazer is a self-insert, and that Cyrene is waifu/yume/incel bait. And they really are both correct. A lot of people have come out of the woodworks claiming that the Trailblazer is actually a fleshed out character because they had a hissy fit against Ligus, and they stopped joking around in Amphorius, but like, that really doesn't change the fact that the Trailblazer by design is a self-insert. You are encouraged to project yourself onto them, and their personality is bland enough for most people to get behind. But oh, the Trailblazer, they love their friends, they love the Trailblaze, and it's goofy at times, so they can't be a self-insert. But like, saying that the Trailblazer isn't a self-insert is like saying John Persona 5 isn't a self-insert. Like, Joker has a backstory, he has motivations, and his personality even shines through in some of the dialogue options. But that doesn't make him not a self-insert. And let me be clear here, I like John Persona 5. Being a self-insert doesn't mean that they're a bad character. I think people have gotten caught up on the connotation of Jamal-kun when it comes to stuff like that. On the other hand, people can deny Cyrene being waifu bait all they want, but money talks, and Hoyoverse has very clearly monetized that $300 skin for you to appear in her ultimate where she wears a wedding ring. They will never outright confirm or deny any ship, but hell will freeze over before they refuse to rake in the cash that the uncertainty gives them. I will also clarify here, being a waifu doesn't mean that they are a bad character. There are lots of good characters that would fall under the waifu umbrella. I believe that people are just caught up on the connotation, just like with self-insert. I personally do not care about the $300 skin because it exactly is just that, a skin for the people who want to get it. There's no universe where I'm buying that, but for the people who do, whatever, go ahead, right? However, this changed to what I said previously about Cyrene selling well, despite her substanceless design. Hoyoverse has prioritized mass appeal and monetization, and this is apparent in most of the things that they do. Do you ever wonder why there are weird decisions like the romance between Firefly, Casteris, and Trailblazer are heavily implied, but Hoyoverse never actually commits to them? Do you ever wonder why Hoyoverse leaves room for interpretation when it comes to playable characters' relationships? Do you ever wonder why Hoyoverse would go as far to make Yume bait personal phone calls for Firefly and even a Memoria date, but you never explicitly make her the Trailblazer's canon girlfriend? Hoyoverse has masterfully wielded the fandom's delusions, desires, and headcanons. Everything is purposeful, from the wispy and vague writing to the unending tidbits of lore that's in their games. They incite the fandom to make theories and fanart, which is a net positive. It's a net positive good that people are making like cool stuff, right? But at its worst, it makes you dream up headcanons where all of the writing decisions make complete sense, even if they flub the endings of their main story quests like they always do. Why write a good story when you can make your fanbase hallucinate a better one? With that said, pour one out for Finon, everyone. This type of video is new for me. Please let me know what you think, as I'm not too confident in this one, to be honest. I think it kind of lost focus at the end there. Maybe I could have just transplanted that into a different video. Oh well. Is it too whiny and scathing, or is it just the right amount of criticism? Either way, that's it for me though. My name is Kyte, and thank you for watching. See ya. Peace.